And boom, according to that, I am now live. I was just like talking for like 4 minutes thinking I was live. New software, new setup, new location, new time zone. Great to see you all. My name is Hiko Simon. This is Tokyo Tonight. I guess Tokyo tomorrow, at least for the 5 months that I'm here in America. Coming to you live from Seattle. I've got the Super Bowl on over there, which of course the Seahawks are not in, but the Eagles are in. So, in fact, Eagles. No, Seahawks, that's right. I don't know. I figure as birds, I should probably go for the Philadelphia team, although I see that Kansas City just got a touchdown. So there you go. It's a close game. Thank you for joining me. Good that everyone can see. This is, I literally not only had to pick topics, but I also had to set up completely new setup. I've got lamps. I've got a screen over here. I'm actually kind of looking above the camera to see the comments. I've got a microphone here. Everything about this is new, even the software that I'm streaming with, and everything is unfamiliar. So expect technical features, as I have been known to have. Yeah, just getting set up. Life in America. So I've already said I've been talking for 4 minutes. First of all, in terms of the timing, great to see we've got our wonderful moderator Erin there in the chat. And other people. I know we won't have people in Europe so much. It's great that we have, I think I saw a New Zealander, Rob Court. Kia ora. Good to have you from Tamaki Makaurau, from Auckland, which is the town I lived the longest in my time in New Zealand. So nice to have someone from there, of course. Whenever I do 10:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time, that's 2:30 a.m. So in New Zealand. So even though I'm from New Zealand, not many people from New Zealand really ever join live. So it's actually nice. I'm doing a relatively New Zealand friendly time zone now. And indeed, I know it's middle of the day on Monday, but even people in Asia can join. I think Europe is the one that's the most difficult for this, but hopefully some people might discover this and come and join. It's a fun little community, and I have been keeping up. The last 2 days, I've sorted out a VPN, so I can actually watch NHK News, because I pay for NHK. Even though I'm here in America, I'm still paying for NHK, so I can actually watch NHK Plus live, and I've been watching the 7 p.m. news. But yeah, if you take out the sports and the weather, and international stories, which I track elsewhere, it's about 15 to 20 minutes of news. So it's actually I was able to catch up the news. So I've got a fair idea, although I haven't really had time to catch up on all the tweets and so on, which is where I picked the topics from. So yeah, I'm just getting the hang of how all of this works. Yeah, I'm using OBS Studio instead of Streamlabs OBS. I also am actually looking at the moment at an enormous 60-inch screen behind the webcam. This is on a laptop, so I'm kind of looking at the webcam on a laptop, but the monitor where it's got all the comments and everything, I guess I can look here. I can look at the comments in 3 different places. I could not get the iPad Airstream working. I'm using the apartment building's Wi-Fi, and so even though it's on the same network, I couldn't get it to mirror the image of the iPad into the middle screen. So for today, it's kind of a low resolution Tokyo Tonight topics, which I will be scrolling with a mouse. I'll see if I can get that working with the iPad. I don't have the fancy borders on all of the windows, but yeah, I can sort all of that out later on. Great to see so many people rocking into the chat, especially with the change of time. One thing is, yeah, 6 p.m. I just realized today on a Sunday, hoping, aspiring to have some kind of a life and to actually go out and do things on weekends. Particularly, I want to get out and, do hiking and sightseeing and all that kind of stuff. Getting back, what my routine is in Tokyo is I always pick up topics at like 9:30 p.m. I sort of rock up. I've had dinner, I've had a shower, I'm relaxed, the lad's in bed. And then I'll start picking up topics and setting up the stream and be all ready to go by 10:30 p.m. And yeah, at this time I haven't had dinner yet. I might still just be getting back. I was literally just, a friend told me yesterday, hey, you watching the Super Bowl? I'm like, what, it's the Super Bowl? So I was just in a bar watching the Super Bowl. I ran back for you guys for this. I have the Super Bowl on TV in a room over there. It's a good game as well. Kansas 20. I guess maybe I don't want to give scores away, so I won't. But Kansas ahead, but it's a tight game. So yeah, I think plus I had to do a complete setup, and I had technical issues as I was setting this up. So this will probably look a bit different next week. So figuring stuff out. Because of that, I'm just thinking, Yeah, 6:30 is tough. I do want to make it East Coast friendly, but I might make it more like East Coast 3 hours ahead, right? So maybe 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. or even 8 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Maybe a little bit late for people who go to bed early, but I think the later the better for me. It lets me sort my stuff out. Getting back here and it takes about an hour to set up, which means I've really got to be back here by 5 o'clock, which on a Sunday really cuts into my ability to do anything. So yeah, figuring stuff out. So I guess I might look to start this maybe an hour later next week. I think it is better for the routine, although, we're figuring things out. So yeah, definitely tonight. In terms of Japan topics, I've been keeping up relatively well with news. I don't have a lot of topics to share. Of course, I've got a lot to share in terms of impressions of America. It's just been a great week. Yeah, it's been wonderful exploring. It really is all new for me at the moment. And I must admit, the person who I was talking to actually is living in the same apartment complex as me, a friend from work. And I didn't find out till yesterday that he was coming here. He's done what I've done before. He's actually coming here to live now. He likes Seattle so much he decided to come here and live. So he's actually transferring. But before he was here on a temporary assignment like me. And he's a New Zealander, and he's talking about how in America you get culture shock as a New Zealander because everybody speaks English. And yeah, you expect everything to sort of be familiar, even though the culture is quite different. And I must admit, I kind of told him I'm so accustomed to Japanese culture now. I get culture shock even back in New Zealand, or not so much culture shock. I expect it to be different. So coming from Japan to America, I must admit, while we speak the same language, I do expect it to be culturally different, and I actually am. That's what I'm looking forward to. I want it to be different. I'll share some impressions, but what I've really enjoyed actually is I don't expect it to be familiar, but I've actually quite enjoyed where I've found it to be familiar in a way that's not familiar to Japan. It's like, oh, people are like that here. I'm like that. In Japan, I'm a weirdo when I do that, but here everybody does that. Oh, this is nice. So, that's that kind of vibe I'm really enjoying. And people are super nice and friendly, and yeah, I'm digging it so far. I got here on Tuesday. This is like my 5th day here, but enjoying it so far. But I'll be talking about more of that. So let's get into the comments. Love to see you here. Great to see so many people rocking in here. 6 likes, 11 viewers. I mean, especially when I switch the time. I do apologize. This will probably be, tell me if you strongly object, but I think this will be 7:30 p.m. or 8 p.m., which I know is late for people on the East Coast, but I think that's probably what I'll switch to next week, just because otherwise, from a routine perspective and from a getting to actually go out perspective, it might be a bit tough. But we'll see how it goes. Anyway, from the top, we've got Kerberos Tenshi. Wow, you made it, even though you are in Germany and it's very late. Very glad that you made it. TT Coffee and Cookies. Well done. Well set up there. You can see my little mouse there on the screen. Okay, well, that's a feature. I must admit, I'm curious. There's a window which actually shows comments which I've lost. Oh, it's over here. No, that's not bad. I'm not going to play with anything. I'm just going to mess it up. So yeah, Rob Court. I think I said kia ora already. Nice to have a Kiwi in here. We don't often get that. Shubus is here. Good to have you. Good evening, Shubus. In a closer, I don't think we're in the same time zone exactly, but we're a lot closer now. Buenos tardes, I suppose. It's always been buenos dias. But it's very nice to have our Panamanian representative there in the chat. We've got Chris Rodham. Good to see you. This hour of the day works way better to actually catch me live. Welcome to Seattle. Hope I enjoy my time here. I hope I enjoy my time here as well. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm having a great time. I just went to a bar to go watch the first half of the Super Bowl kind of football game. It's really like a Rihanna concert and commercials with breaks for football. Literally, the waitress, that lovely waitress, but she said, yeah, I'm so excited for Rihanna Day today. She was literally looking forward to the halftime concert more than the game. But that's exactly that. We kind of in New Zealand, when we make fun of the Super Bowl, we'd that's kind of, we would say it's more of a spectacle than a real sports game. But that's actually, it's not even a joke. That's actually what it is. I mean, it's a great thing. And whoa, Kansas in again. Damn. So anyway, that's interesting. Nice. Thank you for the nice shirt. I actually thought if I'm going to go watch a football game, I assumed I'd be going to a bar full of people wearing like Seahawks like shirts. And I thought, do I get a player's shirt? Problem is, I don't know the players, right? And they're expensive. And I was thinking, what if I spend like $300 on a jersey for a player who turns out to be racist or something? I don't know. It seems like a big investment that I'd be making blindly. I wouldn't want to have a jersey that had something that everyone would read as a-hole on it. And I couldn't find a plain jersey, so I was just going through the clearance racks. And I actually think this is I kind of just like the simplicity of this. But I think it's obviously from, I don't know, some sort of Navy weekend or Army military weekend. I don't know. But it looks cool. I guess I'll either get mistaken for being a tourist or ex-military, and I'm okay with either one of those. However, I got dressed up like this, and then I went out into this bar where I met my friend and caught up my Kiwi friend. And he was explaining to me how he figured out all the day-to-day life stuff that I'm now trying to figure out. So that was great. Super expensive, and no one in the bar was wearing like football jerseys, although some people were clearly cheering the different teams, so that was kind of fun. But it wasn't really a football bar, but it was still a good atmosphere, still a good experience to watch a bit of Super Bowl. But of course, I'm halftime. I came back here, I set everything up, and here we are. So that's my commitment anyway, to see you all. Darren Shmee. Good to see you, Darren Shmee. It's great to see new names. I guess it's part of the time zone, so great to see that. And yay, of course, Aaron. Wonderful to have you here in a closer time zone. Hello, I remember the time catching one of my live shows 7 or 8 years ago when you were in Tokyo. You live in Vancouver, close by. Yeah, I've got to figure out. In fact, I was just basically my poor jet-lagged friend who just arrived from London. Opposite direction, but same distance almost as Tokyo to Seattle. And I was like, dude, I want to go to Seattle. I want to go to Vancouver, but I want to get back into America if I go. What do I do? And he explained, you have to have a Form 129. I think it's a Form 129. There's so many forms for everything here. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you another cool thing. When you live in Japan, if you have a Japanese driver's license, at least in Washington State. So although you can drive around in Washington State with an international permit, some of my Japanese friends warned me that in America, in some states, you actually, the international permit isn't enough. You need to actually get a local American license from somewhere. I think this is a problem for some people in places like California. So I did check the rules. Can I drive around on an international permit, which I can and which I have. So I'm actually good to go for Washington. But if I did want to drive to California or go traveling, I want to be careful of that. So I figured I should get a Washington State driver's license. And apparently Washington State, I have a New Zealand driver's license, but I'd have to retake the test and do everything from scratch for that. But for a Japanese driver's license, it's awesome. They just let me. I have to go to I had to go to the consulate, and they're going to give me a form. But if I get this particular form, they're going to let me just go and I'll just be able to transfer my license and get a Washington State driver's license. So I'm going to get that soon. I have to get a social security number. I have to. I'm not sure if I'll even set up a bank. Actually, I'm just getting paid into my Japanese bank. But got to sort all of that stuff out. So still figuring out life's basics here. It's all a bit of an adventure anyway. It's all sorts of stuff. So yes, including I do want to be able to drive across to Vancouver. It's only like 2.5, 3 hours from here. And actually a friend from work in Japan has an apartment in Vancouver and said if I want to use it, I can use it. So I definitely want to get up there, but I want to make sure I can come back. That's the important thing. Slight echo. Oh, I wonder, why is there a slight echo? Are there two? I'm in an echoey room. Someone's vacuuming out there. Jeez. Really? There's a slight echo? People tell me how the sound is. Oh, audio is good, says Shubus. Weird echo, says Darren Shmee. People tell me how the audio is. I might have to do a live. Fix for this. I can switch to the webcam audio here. My worry is that if the echo is coming because of. Let me just put everything on mute but one source just to make sure. Did that fix it? I have 3 audio sources, so I just muted 2 of them. If I'm still getting an echo now, tell me if that fixed it. If that didn't fix it, I could add another audio source live. Okay, Raz Al Ghul, audio is fine, no echo. Al Qaeda, audio is fine for you. Okay, you know me. The biggest squirrels are tech squirrels. Tech squirrels are like tech, grizzly bears. I chase them, and they destroy the stream. So yeah, that is a thing. Anyway, let's go back into the greetings. Good to see you anyway. Sorry about the weird echo if people are getting that. Liking the timing, says Rob Cord. Well, I'm liking the timing too. Like I said, I might just do it a little bit later. Oh, Raz Al Ghul, 2:33 in London. So you're now in New Zealand, basically, from the perspective. Great to see you in here, Raz Al Ghul. Long time no see. But let the games begin, indeed. I'm sorry it's so late for you, but thank you for joining. Yeah, thank you for people who like the show. They are features people. That's right. Barry Convex, good to see you. Hello from LA. I am really looking forward to getting to LA. It won't be soon. I'm going to settle into work before I go gallivanting around the country. But at a minimum, both for work and for personal stuff, I am definitely going to go down to LA at some point. Maybe more in the summer because I want to surf. Yeah, I would love to do some sort of a meetup down there. Great to have people watching from LA and in a reasonable time zone. You're watching the Super Bowl now, though. Yeah. I guess most people are probably in America watching the time zone now, the Super Bowl now. In fact, it's, 7.5 minutes to go. Anyway, I kind of want to watch it as well, but that's okay. That's okay. We're figuring things out. Greg Hilton says, thanks for tweeting an alert. Yeah, I do that before every show, although this is the first time, obviously, I'm tweeting in this time zone. I thank you everybody for spotting the tweets, and I put stuff on Mastodon, Facebook, and Twitter, and I do say I'm about to stream, and so I don't know for a lot of people. This will be the new routine for now, although like I say, probably I'll do it 1.5 hours later. Just this is a little bit too early. But yes, don't forget to smash the like button, says Aaron, says Shubus. Yes, don't forget to smash the like button. 20 viewers, 10 likes. As I always say, I only do it for the likes, so I do appreciate that. I could always do Sunday mornings if better. That's another thought, but like for example, this morning I woke up, I had a nice sleep in, and I went for a like an 11K run around the big lake around Seattle, and that was great. And again, I kind of don't want to be into scramble mode. I kind of want to be able to go out during the day. Sunday morning might work. I'll figure it out, but I think Sunday evening is probably from a personal life rhythm perspective the way that I've always been doing it. So we'll see anyway. Yes, would love to hear my impressions of America. I will share my impressions of America. Don't worry about it. That's coming. Making sure I'm not missing anything. You are playing from Twitter. Oh, Darren Schmee, you was playing the stream in two windows. That's why you were getting a weird echo. I'm glad that fixed it. Well, in any case, it was good. It's good practice for me to make sure that everything else was muted anyway. So still good. Men's swimwear. Hey, Hiko. Hey, men's swimwear. I recognize the handle. It's been a while. Good to see you. Nice Seahawks shirt. Yeah, thanks. I like it. It was like on a clearance rack. It was cheap and enjoyable. I also got a Kraken hat. I figured, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that tourists do to look local, but still look like tourists. So yeah, I think that's what's happening. Better, better, bada boom. I actually haven't bought. I've only gotten peanut butter so far. I'm not that set up. I've been getting the yogurt here is nuts. Like Seattle does yogurt like good. I'm having yogurt basically every day. My strategy. I've not put on weight yet. I'm being careful. I did go to Muay Thai. I signed up for a class. I've been running every second day, and I got a smart scale, so I'm weighing myself every day, and so far so good. I plan to stay healthy, and the way that I'm basically staying healthy is I really want to enjoy the food. There actually is. My first few times here, I struggled to find good or healthy food when I first came out here, but now I kind of know where to find it. Now it's everywhere, and even when it's not healthy, I know where to find good food. Like the meal I just had, I had like a late brunch, was awesome. But it's the portions are enormous, so I've got to get some Ziploc bags so I can split everything in two and keep it and make it into 2 meals. But yeah, the way that I'm doing it is I'm having a big lunch, coffee, and a small dinner, and that's been working for me in Japan. So yeah, every day I'm going to make sure I have a nice big meal. Also, they're expensive, right? So I'm not having big dinners, but I'm having kind of light dinners. After this, I'm going to go out and probably have some yogurt and some fruit or something like that. But yes, I haven't really had much butter going on yet. I've had toast, but anyway, I'll figure all of this out. I still have to go to a supermarket. This is another thing. Squirrels. Anyway, and it's 6:52, so I am going to speed it up. No butter shortage in Seattle. No, indeed there is not. El Camado, long time no see. Welcome to the US. Good to be here, El Camado. Thank you for the welcome. Chris Rodden, crazy part is all the people who are excited, more excited for the ad breaks instead of the game or the halftime show. That's literally my impression. The ads are too much, and you can see the ads are like, these are the most expensive American TV commercials all year, and I don't know of anything in any other country that really, even where we have big sports events, I don't know anything like that's the advertising. It's almost bigger as an advertising and music concert like event than as a football game. I feel like it detracts from the enjoyment of the football game. For me, I don't know that other people have that impression, but I mean, that's America, so that's what we're here to see. Yes, should have stayed at the bar. Aaron says I should have stayed at the bar. Racist jerseys. Yeah, I like the shirt. I like the shirt. Like I didn't want to get a player that yeah, Mel Gibson. I didn't want to get a Mel Gibson jersey or something like that. So like I say. Indeed, Victor is going to Florida. So far. That's right. I've heard that. I asked if he can stop in Seattle. Sounds like he can't, which is frankly an unreasonable thing. I was only checking. I wasn't actually asking. But it's kind of cool that we're both in America. I'm on the road, folks. Indeed. Boom. No echo. Kerberos Tenshi. I'm going to scroll down, catch up. Any other new names in here? Louise Poppy from New Zealand. Yes. I know that. I've seen you in various places. Great to see again more people from New Zealand. Louise, kia ora. Good to have you in here. Who else we got in here? Yes, get the thumbs up going. Raz Al Ghul. If I get a chance, I should visit the Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee gravesite. Yes, it is on one of the many lists of things to go and see, which I don't think I've done before. Raz Al Ghul, thank you. You don't have to do donations, but I do appreciate it, and I will go out and might even buy some butter with that. I had a Red Bull just before I came out here. Actually, I didn't. Yeah, when I was watching the game, I did not have any alcohol because I didn't want to collapse in a heap, and I knew I had to do a technical setup. So I actually had a Red Bull cocktail, which is like $9. The exchange rate hurts. It hurts. Like right now, the normal exchange rate is like 105 yen to the US dollar, whereas right now it's like 130 something. And Japan hasn't had wage inflation in 30 years. And so I'm kind of poor here. So, in a way, like a $9, based on think about normally the yen is 130 yen to a dollar, is 105 yen to the dollar, now it's 130, which means that $9 Red Bull cocktail that I had was felt like a $13 Red Bull. And the what was it, the bacon and hash browns and pulled beef that I had, which was wonderful, but that was like $29, which is like $45. It felt like $45 because the exchange rates are out of whack. And it was nice, but I can't do that every day. Like in Japan, you have a good lunch for US like $10, less than $10. You'll have a proper meal, and Japanese style meal. So yeah, I guess another reason that if you're in America, think about going to Japan, go before the yen corrects, because everything there is so affordable right now. Anyway, El Pedre can't be bigger than the World Cup, right? I mean, the World Cup has more viewers, but the world, they wouldn't dare. I don't think the World Cup is necessarily the advertising event that the Super Bowl is. There no question that the ad spots on it are expensive. The sponsorships are expensive, like with the Olympics. But the idea that that's the one, advertisement of the year that you get all these celebrities out. Whoa, Super Bowl's tied up. Oh, it looks like such a good game. Focus. So even the World Cup, soccer, football. By the way, Arisha in Tokyo did a great video on the history of why American football is called football, including the fact that original football was actually rugby, and soccer was soccer before it was football, and rugby was the original football. She actually captured that. I was actually she did a great video. Go and check out her channel. I was just watching that today while I was out running. Okay, 30 minutes up. I want to give Seattle impressions, and I'm going to fly through the news stories, and then I'll pretty much, people seem to want to hear my impressions of America, so I will do that. The other scary part for meals in Seattle is 22. Yes, 22% tips for meals and 30% is a good tip. So I remember when like 5 years ago when I came to America, the tip options were like 10%, 15%, 20%, I think. Whereas now, like everything is like 20%, 25%, 30%. And I struggle. I've talked before how I struggle with tipping, just in the sense that just pay your workers a proper wage and put it in the prices. I don't want to offend somebody by getting the amount wrong, and I don't want to do arithmetic in my head every time I pay. So just make it granted, now everything's electronic and they make you just hit one of the three or whatever. But yeah, like the minimum amount is like 20%, which used to be like the top. So that's right. My $29 hash browns and bacon and beef, you're right, had a 20% tip. I mean, that was an expensive it was a very expensive hash browns and bacon and rice. It was very good, but the cost of living is high, so I'm being a bit self-resilient. I guess it helps with the diet. I can just commentate the Super Bowl. I guess I could do that. That feels illegal. So right now there is a commercial of angry people fighting. I guess that's what it would be. Jesus loved the people we hate. He gets us. All of us. This is, wow. Jesus actually is paying for advertisements on the Super Bowl. That's literally it. That was it. They just switched. That was literally, they didn't even attribute it to which religious group that was. That was literally... Oh, and now my TV over there is freaking out and changing channels. Why is it doing that? Oh, anyway. Okay, no, I am not going to do that. That was literally a Super Bowl ad paid for by Jesus. That was crazy. Really, they get every celebrity. It's amazing. Okay, let's get into the topics that we have. I'm going to fly through them and then let's talk about America. So, Ben Duncan, good to see you. Give everyone a silver dollar as a tip. I think they'll be stunned. I think people would get upset, but what can we do? Unseen Japan going through, again, doing a lot of good topics. I kind of a bit bummed out I didn't get to actually meet up with Noah, the guy who runs it, before I flew out here. Just life got a bit crazy, but 14% of local assemblies in Japan have 0 women. I'm surprised it's that little. I thought it might have been more. I was talking last week about the city councils that are vetoing the school's right to name itself because of tradition and anger and grr. And they're all angry old men, and you know that there are no women, and the school PTA and the parents and all the mothers are fed up, but this is kind of how it happens. They're just run by old men, and no doubt they make it very difficult for women to participate, and this leads to all sorts of problems. So yeah, kind of expected. Oh yeah, you want to see my setup? This is my setup. I'm looking at that screen. Is that photo has Fortnite on it. The resolution on this is terrible. I'll fix out the mirroring later on. But I'm literally looking at a laptop there in the middle. Yes, I'm actually looking up at the comments, and my stream set up here on this enormous 4K 60-inch, I think it's 60-inch TV. It's wonderful. I'm using this as a computer monitor. I'm watching NHK on this. I'm watching YouTube on this. I'm doing work on this, although I'm mainly working in the office. I'm like living close to where I work, so that's really, really handy. But I got a nice apartment, and it didn't have a desk. I was like, can I have a desk? And they said, yeah, but then I realized, I'm just going to put it in front of the enormous television. So very happy about that. ChatGPT and Google's Bart, there's so much hype around this at the moment. I actually feel, unlike crypto or blockchain or NFTs or all the other sort of hype cycles, which I haven't really gotten into, I'm genuinely excited, as I've shared many, many times, about ChatGPT, and not so much for ChatGPT specifically, but just for the technology is so amazing, and ChatGPT is just kind of a crappy demo of not only something that is already better and is going, but also something that's being iterated so fast and is going to accelerate so quickly, and that I can see the impacts of. I find that incredibly exciting. So it's it's an exciting time, and of course seeing Google freak out that I thought the way that the idea of being excited for Bing about to integrate ChatGPT into Bing results, and the way that they're doing it, that you'll have normal search results on one side and then actual ChatGPT on the other side with like attributions that you can actually check where it got information from, that it's answering your questions, so that you can see the original source web pages. That's a great integration. It actually makes me think, for the first time since 1997, You know what? It would have been later than 1997, but I remember I think I was at university when everybody realized that Yahoo Chat had powered by Google down the bottom, and Google had their own very clean page, and everyone started swapping their bookmarks for search from Alta Vista and Yahoo to Google. And we never looked back. Google's just dominated search for more than 20 years. And yeah, all of a sudden now, finally, competition for Google from Bing. And Bing was this enormous joke. But yeah, with this sort of integration, this sort of feature, I'm excited to use it in March when it comes out. So of course, Google panicked and went and rushed out this kind of, honestly, everyone knows that Google's technology is beyond the OpenAI and Microsoft technology that's behind this. So they have superior technology, and everyone knows that. But they rushed out this response, obviously to avoid shareholders freaking out, probably at the boss. And the presentation was half-baked and terrible, and it had mistakes in it, and it wasn't as integrated, and just didn't look as good. And as a result, Google lost $100 billion in value. I actually feel for Google on this. Well, I feel for Google in the sense that I know that they have better tech. It's just that they were trying so hard and desperately to react to this that they just put out a half-baked presentation that destroyed a whole lot of corporate value. It's also ridiculous the amount of positive press that Microsoft is getting from this, but credit to them. They've picked up on something and they've done it really well. So I am excited about all of this. Coming out. I think I've mentioned how I've built apps just basically using ChatGPT as a coach, and it's gotten me to working, web apps and stuff. Again, because they use AI and they're expensive, I haven't made them public because, although they're super cool, but I use them. They're apps that I use personally, just because I'd have to figure out how to get a ton of money from them. All these AI, like these art generating apps and so on. I know they appear expensive. They're expensive because the compute behind them is expensive. And I would have to launch, if I wanted to launch what I made, it would be expensive, and I don't want to do that. So I will do it in time, but I'll figure out a way to do it that I don't have to charge everyone $5 a pop for using it. Although I can use it affordably if I'm the only user. But yeah, it's really exciting tech. I think it's the story I take from this is where, when companies focus more on appeasing shareholders than actually, doing right by not thinking long term, not thinking about best products, not thinking about their workers, they do stuff like what Google just did, and they don't need to do it. They look rattled, So anyway, I am excited about the tech, but kind of funny to watch Google stumble, and really weird to be excited to use Bing. Yeah, Bing's always just kind of been a joke to me. It's a search engine that a grandmother might use by accident, but now it might actually be a real thing, so that's pretty cool. Diving back into the comments, boom, $2 tip on every 10. Yes, it's crazy. No comments directed at me, so yeah, but thank you everybody for saying hi. Yahoo still collects every year for the victims of Fukushima earthquake. It's only 10 yen for every search of 311. Oh, I did not know that. And of course, Yahoo in Japan being SoftBank. I think SoftBank actually did buy, Yahoo as a company has now pretty much collapsed, but because just like 7-Eleven, it's always been very successful in Japan, and I believe that the franchisee, SoftBank, which got the rights to use the Yahoo name, is actually now bigger than the original parent. And I'm not sure, but I think SoftBank may have actually bought out Yahoo, like the US company now, just like 7-Eleven, like the Japanese franchisee bought out the original parent. So that's a thing. Actually, not that many topics left, I think. How many topics left are there? Okay, there are a lot of topics. Let's go light speed, because I want to talk about America. That's kind of fun. So anyway, a Russian lady apparently went onto Twitter, very, very nice looking Russian lady. And I must admit, I look at all this stuff assuming it's some kind of propaganda anyway, but she sort of said, how is it that, basically America was so mean and they nuked Japan, yet everybody is like, come on baby, America has songs like this from Da Pump, an Okinawan group. Why are they releasing why is all this pop culture so pro-American? I've given my take on this before on the A-bombing anniversary days and so on. Obviously lots of countries haven't forgiven Japan, for example, for its wrongs. And some have moved on and some haven't, and of course, you can't generalize across countries. There are people in Japan who don't like America and people who, indeed, specifically because of the A-bombing, although I do find that in general in Japan, people have always been very neutral on it. I think there's two things to take into account. One, people look at World War II in Japan as, generally speaking, it's treated like a natural disaster. It's commemorated like a natural disaster. It's a natural, and when there is talk of blame, there's general acknowledgement, even within Japan. I think people outside of Tokyo in particular blame the centralized government in Tokyo for the war, and and everything that befell them was just stuff that was happening that was beyond their power and control to change, which I think is very much what's happening in Russia to a lot of people at the moment. Although, of course, popularity polls, well, to the extent that you can trust them, says that people in Russia right now overwhelmingly support the invasion of Ukraine. But it was never. It's kind of funny. You listen to Americans who are very defensive, like, oh man, we had to do it. We had to use the bomb. We saved lives with it. But it's like no one in Japan really is ever asking Americans, like, Americans seem to be anticipating being attacked on this, saying, how could you have A-bombed us, you horrible people? And we had to do it, man. But Japanese never ask that question. They just don't think about it that way. Americans don't have to be defensive. Most of the debate about the merits of the A-bombing and the necessity of it seem, in my view, to be being done actually among Western academics rather than actually Japanese to Western. That's the first thing. The second thing, of course, is that MacArthur was incredibly popular. America was a great economic and military ally, and indeed the military relationship, which some people view, even in Japan, some people view as still being an extension of the occupation, which it kind of is. But it's been enormously beneficial to Japan. Japan was basically let off the hook. It was given basically free military security without having to spend any money for 70 years. It's only recently that that America's been like, yeah, we really would like Japanese to send troops to Iraq, please. Japan said, oh, sorry, hands are tied, Constitution, that was you did it, but we'll write you a check. It's kind of like America's actually, kind of has doubled back the wrong way. Japan's benefited enormously from basically allowing America to have a kind of a veto over over Japan's foreign affairs. And control over its defense has been wonderful for Japan. And it's actually, and frankly, for all the anti-American sentiment that exists, the whole of Northeast Asia has been peaceful since the end of the Korean War. And I'm talking about Taiwan as well. The whole region, Japan, Taiwan, has been peaceful because of those American bases there. America is responsible for the peace and prosperity of Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan. While a lot of people don't like America as a big hegemonic, big horrible country, America's, the culture, even before the war, baseball was popular. Perry's opening up Japan and triggering the Meiji Revolution was seen as something that's hugely beneficial from a Japanese historical perspective. So before and after the war, even the Pearl Harbor thing, most of the government and the senior military people were actually trained. They actually went to officer schooling in the U.S., and they were against. It was the lower ranks that were for starting a war with America. Before, during, after the war, Japan's always been as close to America, frankly, as the only other country it's been closer to it historically has been the Netherlands. So, Russian lady asked, how can you like America? I mean, as if they're going to like Russia. Russia's right now, feel close to Russia. I think I showed the poll last week, it was like 5% or something. Japan looks at the situation and recognizes that America may be imperfect, but it's been a good friend to Japan. I think that's fundamentally what it comes down to. It doesn't get not only everything, but most things perhaps it doesn't get right, but I think America still gets by on its people basically having their hearts in the right place, and I think Japanese recognize that. I think it's similar with Germany, frankly, as well. It's a complex relationship, but yeah. 2 minutes up. Next, says Aaron. Boom. Let's move on. A woman boss. So there's a saying in Japanese that you see on thread. It's not really a Japanese saying, but Japanese people say this a lot. The biggest enemy of women is other women. I guess it's not just a Japanese saying, but you see it on forums a lot. And indeed, a female boss says, I refuse to hire young women because they're just going to get knocked up and take maternity leave. And it's kind of funny. I was joking when I saw this that not I have heard that opinion being expressed not just by Japanese women, but even Western women who work in Japan. It is actually, it sparked a lot of debate, on discussion more than debate, on Twitter when I posted this. That yeah, oh wow, 11 seconds left in the game. Game is tied. Kansas City going for a field goal attempt to win the game. That's crazy. And it's good. Damn, America. Well, that's 3 points. Okay, so now Philadelphia has 8 seconds to hit back. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Not just kind of interesting, it's actually quite a good game. Seriously, why do people want to watch the commercials for this? So anyway, there is this thing. A lot of people pointed out. It's not just women being anti-women. It is a big thing in Japan when you have to pay people and they can be out for 18 months to 2 years on maternity leave. It's something that's really, honestly, I think even Japanese men, even chauvinistic, misogynistic Japanese men now understand. Don't go there. Don't say it. It's kind of taboo for men to bring up, but women will say it, and they'll say it because, yeah, it is true. Some people said on Twitter that it's a problem, especially if you're a small business and you've got 4 employees and one of those employees goes out. It's a challenge, right? And I thought there was a response from Lily Pro on Twitter, who pointed out that, yeah, the problem here is that if men were forced to take paternity leave the same as women take maternity leave, then it wouldn't be seen as a problem exclusively of hiring women. That's kind of a good point. I guess men might think, oh, great, yeah, I'll take some time off when there's a baby, but I don't think they really know what they're getting into if that's the case. But I think it does emphasize perhaps the need to actually not just change attitudes, but also to ensure that men are taking time off as well. Otherwise, it's seen as an exclusively women problem. So I thought that was an interesting one. Acting in Japan, where to start? There's an article by gaijinpot.com. It used to be that there were so few. When I came to Japan in the 90s, there were so few foreigners around that pretty much any foreigner, if you just meet someone from TV, you'd be invited to be on a TV show like Kore ga Hendai o Nihonjin. This is what's wrong with Japan. And there are all these shows which would basically just take any foreigner. You just had to meet the right people. I met people from the show and they invited me. I kind of thought, yeah, I wouldn't mind being on TV, but I didn't want to get in trouble at work, and I just arrived. So I didn't. I think now there are more foreigners. It's maybe not as easy to get in, but yeah, there are all sorts of gigs, modeling. I always thought it would be cool to be like in karaoke, in the old karaoke parlors. I think it's different now. Well, maybe not so much. They used to have those random videos. That sometimes they'll have the same video and they'll just put it on different songs, but they've all got these sort of drama, sort of stories that are just randomly attached to songs. And normally they're shot in Japan using foreigners. And I always thought, wow, that'd be a great gig to be. When the game is over. I've always thought it would be great to be one of those karaoke song laser DVD drama actors for backgrounds on karaoke songs. I always said that was an unfulfilled dream, and some people mentioned back that there's still time. Hey, if anybody's making karaoke DVD dramas, call me. I'll be back in a few months, and I'm still up for making those. But yeah, it is a thing that although foreigners are now increasing in numbers in Japan, we're still it still is a gig that's probably a lot easier to get into in Japan than it would be to get into in, for example, bigger countries. And it seems to be good cash. I worked as an extra in a movie once. Oh, there is a movie called, what is it? Out of This World. It's a movie about when jazz came to America, and I got to play, I think I've mentioned this before, I got to play a GI, a background walking around GI, which was fun. And I don't think I even got paid. I think I got like 2,000 yen for lunch or something, and that was it. But it was fun to be in a movie. So there are opportunities if it's something that you'd be interested in. Check out the Gaijin Pod article if you're into that. For our Philippines audience, which I guess Philip, we're in a good time zone for Philippines. So President Marcos made it to Japan the day after Luffy was deported. They deported all of those Japanese criminals who are operating from the Philippines. And while I must say, while I have personally, I don't know a lot about the Philippines, so maybe I shouldn't be speaking about the Philippines. That's why this is not called Manila Tonight. But that's it. What little I know about the Philippines is the legacy of the Marcos era. I grew up when that was still Imelda Marcos, famous family, the largest shoe collection in the world. The scale of corruption and mismanagement of the Philippines and the economy there under his parents is well known. And frankly, Philippines just seems to have been cursed with what appear to be bad leaders looking from the outside, including the most recent one. So I was a little bit worried about Marcos winning, but so far he's doing the right things. He's getting, coming to Japan. He's looking to actually improve trade and international relations, not isolate the country. I think it's also probably, again, I mentioned about America. I know Philippines was like a Puerto Rico. It was actually like a protectorate, like a colonized country of America, and that makes the relationship with America very different. But look at Japan. I mean, Japan's used the relationship with America to its advantage, and I think given the trouble that Philippines has with China, not a bad time, frankly, for Philippines to reestablish ties, with America, obviously on its own terms. But I think there's opportunities, and I see Marcos saying the right things. So, yeah, maybe he is going to be an improvement. He couldn't be worse anyway, but, well, touch wood. You never know nowadays. But anyway, good to see Marcos doing and saying the right things, and nice to see Japan and Philippines getting closer relations, especially now there's so many Philippine people in Japan as well. So that's cool. Tesla earns more than 5 times per car than Toyota, earnings shows. And there was actually a lot of talk about this. Some Toyota engineers apparently did a big public breaking down of a Tesla car. And basically they were kind of shocked because they found that Teslas have no components. They are very simple. They're electric motors and an iPad and seats, pretty much. A little bit more than that. But compared to an internal combustion engine car, the struggle for Toyota, and apparently the engineers, there was news coverage in Japan that these car engineers, these artisanal Japanese car engineers, were shocked at the simplicity of parts that Teslas are made from. They are extremely cheap and easy to make, and that is inherently why they are cheaper to make and much more profitable per car. The problem is, like a big old car company, Toyota outsources, has suppliers, thousands of suppliers for every small part, and all of those small parts are often connected to making internal combustion engines. And those businesses, there's a lot of small, medium-sized businesses. Basically, all of Aichi Prefecture is pretty much connected to Toyota. Toyota is the name not only of the company, but a city in Aichi Prefecture. They're so dominated by this. And so Toyota has kind of said it can't just switch over to making EVs because it would basically need to cut its supply contracts with half of the companies in Aichi Prefecture. And it would be socially disruptive and irresponsible. And it's kind of pointing this out, and it's being asked to do more of a transition. But in the meantime, this is why Tesla's value, in spite of all the shenanigans of its owner, are so good. And frankly, Toyota, they have good battery and electric engine technology from making hybrid cars. So I tweeted here, I really think Toyota should perhaps consider, frankly, even in America, electric cars are only 3% of new cars. They get a lot of attention, but still 97% of cars are combustion cars. Toyota can keep making them, but I think that they should try to establish a separate EV brand, perhaps, so that they can ease off the relationships with the existing suppliers. But I don't think I think they need to refocus on having an isolated pure EV brand like Tesla has, because they're getting disrupted, and this is exactly how Tesla was able to drop their prices. I want to drive a Tesla. I mean, again, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk. I'm not, but I don't think it's an endorsement of. It's great that we have more choices for cars, but they seem to be good cars. You see tons of them around here. So it's one bucket list. I definitely want to drive one of those while I'm here. Ben Duncan's going to stick to his McLaren F1. Well, as well you might, but I believe that the ludicrous mode on the Model S accelerates faster than a McLaren F1, although you wouldn't want to turn a corner. But Haneda Airport. When I left Haneda Airport, I was really impressed. I traveled a couple of times before I came to America, but it was only using Narita Airport. And Narita's, honestly kind of a crappy airport. It's good enough. You get your suitcase, you get through customs reasonably fast. But what I was really impressed, of course, Haneda has been kind of closed down almost with the pandemic. The degree of automation, the setting up for checking in your bags and going through customs, so fast and so high tech now. And Delta Airlines, which I flew on as well. I mean, Delta's Delta, but the check-in process and everything, the app is awesome. Yeah, it just struck me as being, I don't consider airports by how many restaurants they have or what kind of view they have or facilities. I mean, Changi is still great for that in Singapore. But I really measure an airport, how good an airport is, by how quickly you can get from the plane to a taxi outside of the airport. How quickly can you get through everything you need to get out of the airport. Seattle has been renovated, and Seattle was super fast in spite of all my immigration situation. Haneda is super fast. Changi is the amazing balance where it's an amazing place to do a 10-hour layover, that they've got these cool hotels, shops, restaurants, everything. And if you want to get out of the airport, you can get from the plane to outside of the airport easily in less than 10 minutes. In fact, I've done it in like 5 minutes sometimes when I've just had to carry on. And Haneda is like that as well, except Haneda doesn't have the great shops and everything on the inside. I wouldn't want to stay for 10 hours. I wouldn't even want to stay for 2 hours inside Haneda Airport, but you can get out of it really fast. So yeah, Haneda is definitely, whenever you fly into Tokyo, if you can, remember that if you fly out to Narita, you're basically adding 2 hours travel time to your flight to get into actual Tokyo, because, of course, Narita is like way, way out of Tokyo, whereas Haneda is right there. So you should choose Haneda anyway, and it's also a better airport. I've been complaining for months about how since November I've had an open Apple support case where it wouldn't give me my fitness score on my, which is just a metric I like to follow, on my old watch. And I got this incredibly expensive Apple Watch Ultra, and it wouldn't give me a fitness score that it's supposed to give me. It took 4 months, but it just spontaneously started working as soon as I came to America. I don't know if being in America is what fixed it. I don't know if it was an update to the firmware or the operating system, whatever, but it's working now. So very, very happy about that. Small victories. Persistent gaps in the labor market. Still hard. A lot of professions. Women are underrepresented. Ran around the lake. Will it show? Yeah, 11.3 Ks, 5 minutes, 15 a kilometer. There were some women running, like there are a lot of really serious runners. And again, this is getting into impressions of America now. I think this is the final story. There were some women, like when I run in Tokyo, I normally do run faster than this. I run about 4 minutes 40 per kilometer pace. Note, I'm still using metrics. Everyone says it's like 0.3 miles, and I'm still like, what you're saying is like 5,000. It's like 5,000 hamsters away. I've got no idea. I can't visualize the metrics that you're using. I'll do it. I'll get into Fahrenheit in miles, but for now I'm using kilometers. I'm normally overtaking everyone. I'm like that guy who drives a little bit faster than everybody and just sits in the fast lane and kind of quietly passes people. Here in Seattle, people are like fast, and I don't really think in Tokyo. I can't remember the last time I was overtaken while I was running properly by a woman. Frankly, I know that of course pro runners. In fact, even the celebrity. Sherry Drury, who's like a half, I think she has a foreign father, is kind of a bit of a star middle school runner who can run like 3 minute 52 per kilometer, which I've run sub 4 minute like once, and like that's like sprinting for a kilometer for 5 minutes sprinting, and she just runs like 10-kilometer races like that. So real runners are totally different. But I was overtaken today by 2 people, the second of whom was like, a woman running. I can kind of tell she was running sub 4 minute. She was running at that kind of a pace. Like she went past me like I wasn't even moving. So yeah, people here are like really good, and people say hello when you run. You can see people's faces because no one's wearing masks, which I'm enjoying. I do like it. I don't want to stand out and be that guy in Tokyo who's like, you're all wrong. Learn hygiene from a dirty foreigner like me. I don't want to be that guy. I know there's a lot of people who say, don't be a sheeple, but I don't want to deal with crazy people. I don't want to have people giving me dirty looks. I just wear a mask, and it's warm. Don't look at me. Leave me alone. That's Tokyo. But here in America, people are like, hey, how are you? Oh, I'm okay. Nice to know you. Hello. But people interact, and I do like that as part of the experience. So, I'm happy to win in Rome. I'm in America. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not sick yet, although I'm going to do my best to keep it that way. But yeah, and that's all the topics that I have. So yeah, America. Quick look at the chat. I've been racing through to try to leave some time at the end. Barry Convex, you've been in the US 1 year now, and Fahrenheit still means nothing to me. I mean, it's the only country. It's kind of like, did America really win the War of Independence if they're still using imperial measurements? That's what I want to know. I mean, even the empire doesn't use imperial measurements anymore. Like, seriously, I mean, who really won? It's all backwards, isn't it? You know. But yeah, you know, that is one of the many things that makes America America. So generally speaking, I was kind of starting to organize my I've had a ton of thoughts. I think, oh, I've got to share all of these on the show, and now here I am, and I've got 5 minutes left, and I'm trying to remember what they are. What I like, I suppose these are Seattle specific. I realize that even in America, different states and different cities have different cultures and so on. But generally, I'm generalizing to America from what I'm seeing in Seattle. I mean, Seattle people are definitely nice. Like, you have, like in Australia, you have casual interactions with strangers everywhere, which you do not have at all in Tokyo. You might have a little bit outside of Tokyo, but New Zealand is very similar to Japan as well, where, you know, you might have a social pressure. You know, there's a social pressure in New Zealand to sort of be nice to people genuinely, but, you know, you won't generally bother people. But everyone's just like, you know, saying hello and is kind of nice, which I like. It's friendly. I jive with that. I can adapt to that. It puts me in a good mood that, you know, you get to have lots of positive interactions with strangers just wandering around, going about your day. It's something I like about America. One thing I noticed, there's been a couple of moments like this. You do see crazy people, not the politically correct term, but people who appear to have some sort of mental illness. But I must admit, like, it shows you as well, when people in Japan have people with you know, and family members with mental illness, they really lock them up at home, and when they go out in public, they really like have their arm around them, and they're really tightly trying to control their behavior so that they don't stand out or do anything. And when someone on a train suddenly starts going woohoo, you know, everybody starts shuffling away from them and stuff like that. There's a real stigma on it, and, you know, the way that society works. And it's something I feel when I go to Australia or New Zealand. I feel it here that, you know, most people who you know, they're perfectly nice, normal people, right? There's no reason to treat them with a stigma. You know, people, I think the reaction that, oh, they're unpredictable and dangerous, but most of the time that's not the case. The other thing I must admit, when I see all the crazy people I've seen, again, not the politically correct term, they look happy. And when I see someone like, you know, standing on a street corner, smiling and laughing and dancing by himself, I look at him, first I think, well, that's a crazy person. And then I think, you know what, if he's happy and I'm frowning, am I, you know, is he the crazy one or am I, you know, am I looking at this the wrong way around? The other thing I like is that things where I have to acknowledge in Japan, and I've come to accept, I'm told by my own family, and I'm, you know, the way that you learn to, I have an overactive internal dialogue. I talk to myself a lot inside of my head, very seldom leaks to the outside, but and I see humor in everything. I look around and I not only see humor in what I see, but I think through things, and I think of funny things, and I react when I do that. And my son's like, "Dad, you're smiling. Stop it." I do that. I smile in public sometimes, and and again, I'm trying desperately to control it when I'm in Japan. But people here are weird in a way that it feels familiar, like in a way that's weird for me, in a way that honestly wouldn't be tolerated in New Zealand or Japan, but is tolerated here. So, for example, I was in the supermarket the other day, and there was a song by The Weeknd that came over the shop, like radio, that everyone was listening. It's a nice tune, I like it. And of course, I start humming along in my head and kind of, as I'm walking around, kind of tapping and bobbing my head. Yeah, it's a nice song. And again, you'd be careful about doing this in Japan, but here it's kind of going along. And as I'm walking past the vegetable section, there's a lady in the vegetable section, and she's looking at the vegetables, and she starts singing along with it. I'm like, yeah, she's singing. She gets it. She's like me. She's singing too. And then a guy starts walking behind both of us, like with a basket. He's whistling to the song. It's like, it felt like it was about to burst into a musical or something. But the fact that people would walk around there, everyone, where I'm normally the weirdo, I feel like the only one trying to suppress the urge to like start singing to a good song that I hear. It's like, you know, and really allowed full freedom, I would probably sing along to it, especially if I was at home or something. everybody here reacts the way that I kind of react to that. And when I go out running, yeah, people say, "Hey, how's it going?" when you go past, which is what I want to do, but nobody really. Sometimes people do in Japan, but yeah, people are weird in a way that I like and that feels familiar, and that so I'm enjoying those impressions at the moment. Just that people are friendly, and even when they're strange, it's kind of fun strange. So again, I might get sick of this in time. Tipping's not been a big problem. I've found it incredibly convenient, all the e-pay stuff and so on, much more than in previous trips. I haven't needed to use cash at all so far. Yeah, it's been great not having to use a humidifier. Of course, Tokyo is incredibly dry during winter. Seattle doesn't really have a big problem with dryness during winter. So it's been great. No hand cream, no humidifier. So that's been cool. The place I'm in right now, this room is bonkers. It is bigger. This apartment I'm in by myself is bigger than the home I was living in Japan. That's convenient. I do want to get out driving. I do want to do all of that stuff. I still, I must admit, I have a heart attack still crossing the road because I've only ever lived in countries that are I've lived in Singapore, Australia, New Zealand, Japan. I visit UK all the time. I've been in places that drive on the opposite side of the road to America, so I always look right, left, right. And it occurred to me, yeah, that I keep stepping into the street looking in the wrong direction when cars are coming. So I'm telling myself left, right, left. It's kind of like in the movies, like the army marching guys. So I've been trying to do that so I can get myself looking where the cars are coming from. Which I must admit is making me hesitant to start driving. But yeah, I'm really enjoying. So Sadiq Hakanguru says, the people do not suppress their feeling in the US. Yes, I am noticing a whole bunch of that. And on the whole, I haven't had any unpleasant experiences around that yet. I'm sure unpleasant experiences exist, but I kind of like it. So yeah, I really do like Vancouver. I've been there before. Vancouver has a lot in common with Seattle, but it's just a much more beautiful city. And again, it's just the Canadian mentality of everybody chipping in to make sure everything is nice that doesn't really exist in America. America is America because everybody's out to maximize themselves, is sort of my impression. Like, they don't want to pay tax. They don't want to do anything more for, socialism or anything like that. And that's all fine. But the other side of the equation is affordable healthcare and beautiful cities, which you have in Vancouver. And people are still really nice over there. So yeah, I would love to get over there. Ben Duckett, just drive on the right side of the road. Yeah, everybody can just accommodate me. So anyway. So those are my initial impressions of America. I mean, look, I'm unquestionably in the honeymoon period. I'm going to be here for 5 months. So that's normally, I'd say a honeymoon period is 2 to 3 months. So it'll be long enough to exceed that. One thing I will say is already a couple of people have reached out on social media and said, hey, you want to grab a coffee or do something? Outside of work, I know nobody here. So like I will accept all the coffees. If you're in Seattle, coming to Seattle, whatever, hit me up. Seriously, I will come out and say hello. Like I say, this is all part of an adventure, and as I get more settled and organized and confident driving and whatnot, I'm going to probably explore and at least hit Oregon and Canada. So I do hope to meet people, but you can DM me on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and like I say, I am enjoying getting around and meeting people and trying things. So definitely do that. Aaron asks, have I had any coffee yet? I've had coffee all the time, twice a day. The coffee at work, I mean, even just the average coffee, there's like a barista bar thing, and that's really good. But everybody actually recommends the Monorail Cafe, which is really close to where I work, and I've had that. But I know from previous trips as well that Seattle has excellent coffee. I'm trying to figure out where's the nearest excellent coffee to where I live. I don't have coffee here at home, so I have to go out for it. But that is something I've got to nail down more. But the coffee here obviously is famously awesome in Seattle. I didn't even drink coffee till I was like actually warned if I was drinking too many Genki drinks and I was messing up my pancreas. And I was told by the doctor when he asked me if I was a heavy whiskey drinker. And I said, no, but I drink Republican. He said, stop. I started forcing myself to drink coffee after that, and I never liked the taste of it. But lately, now my palate's adjusting. I'm enjoying coffee. So yes, I've definitely got to look up more coffee here in America. Also, I signed up for an IT class. I'm doing a cloud certification course, which, American version of the Breakfast Club, I suppose. It was me and a band of misfits going for IT certifications. But again, all lovely people. Got to chat, and again, it's something I like about Americans. When you do courses, they always do self introductions. New Zealanders are very self-conscious and don't like to do that. Americans are very friendly, and yeah, it was just great to get to meet some people through that. It's like 4 degrees Celsius right now, like during the day. I'm going running and I'm using an outdoor pool, however, which is heated. It's wonderful, except getting out of the pool is nearly impossible. But yeah, it's a good time here. So anyway, I'm looking forward to exploring more, having more learnings from America to share with everybody. But you know, it's good to be here. It's a new time zone. Like I say, probably this is too early. I mean, apart from the fact I missed the Super Bowl, also just I do want to probably go and do things like hiking and trail running and, you know, going out meeting people and so on, but being able to come back and not rush back and have time to prepare. So I think I'm going to aim for a 7:30 or 8 o'clock start in future weeks, Pacific time, which I know is late for East Coast. But 6:30 is a bit too early. I was really scrambling tonight. I'll also try to make this interface a bit more beautiful in future weeks. I'm still figuring it out, but yeah, it's great to be here in America. It's great to see you all. Thank you all for keeping me company and for the 18 likes. I do appreciate it. Do remember to like. That's what I do it for. Remember to yeah, and if you leave a comment as well, just if you're watching this recorded. But yes, indeed. Any final comments or questions? Kerberos Tenshi. When you speak of Vancouver, do you mean Vancouver, US or Vancouver, Canada? That is funny because I was actually saying to an American from Oregon that, yeah, I'm going to Vancouver for a trip. And she was like, yeah, it's a really nice city. And it took like 5 minutes to realize that I was talking about, if you're from outside of America, Vancouver is a famous international city, the Canadian Vancouver, whereas I think Vancouver, Washington, I think it's Washington, is it Oregon? It's a reasonably famous city, I understand, in America, but no. When I say Vancouver, I mean Canada, which I assume is what the conversation about here was. I always mean Canada. People tell me I want to go to Astoria because they made like Short Circuit and Goonies and Kindergarten Cop and a bunch of movies there. And people keep telling me I should go to Portland. I don't know, I might do that. I've had enough recommendations. It seems like it could be worth exploring. So yeah, I'm talking about Canada anyway. So yeah, final go. Smash your like button on the way out. I'm 10 minutes over like I always am. So yeah, wow. So many people join. I'm really happy, especially if now this is a more convenient time zone. I'm really happy to have new viewers here. Do watch the show recorded. If you're watching it recorded, leave a like, leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I'll be, and that's where I will put out alerts next week. I'll probably do it a little bit later, but yeah, figuring all of this out. It's great to be here. I'll still keep. I'm tracking. I'm actually not watching television. I'm just following Japanese news, the same as in Japan. So I will keep up with that. And so yeah, keep following me. Have a safe week, everybody. And boom, peace. Have a good one. Ending stream. And